Hello and welcome back to a brand new video. This time we're going to be reviewing the Mayan Empire as part of the New Frontier DLC pass Civilization 6 has decided to come out with. Looking at their first ability, Ix Mutul Adjo, non-capital cities within 6 tiles of the capital gain plus 10% to all yields. Other non-capital cities receive minus 15% to all yields, plus 5 combat strength to units within 6 tiles of the capital city. So obviously what this wants you to do is settle your cities within 6 tiles of your capital. The civ ability and the observatory unique building help in regards to that, but I want to look at the plus 10% to all yields first. Problem with this is other non-capital cities receive minus 15% to all yields. Now I don't like this leader ability too much at all, to be honest, because Scotland, don't they get plus 15% with ecstatic cities? And that's every city in the empire. Meanwhile, plus 5 combat strength to units within 6 tiles, doesn't Teddy have the same thing, but to his entire continent? So the leader ability looks like a washed-down version of both Scotland and Teddy's Teddy's own unique abilities. I'm gonna have to give this one a 5 out of 10. It's pretty good, and there's 2 of them, but that debuff there really restricts what cities you can build. Plus, as I said, other civs have these abilities, but they're better. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents on it. Next up, the Mayab. Settling adjacent to fresh water and coasts do not provide extra housing. Instead, each farm provides an additional plus 1 housing and gold, and then there's plus 1 amenity for every luxury adjacent to the city center. Again, this is going to force you to play tall. Without the need for fresh water, you're going to want to settle your cities within 6 tiles of the capital. No matter if it's near a river, the coast, it's going to be within 6 tiles of the capital. Each farm providing 1 housing. So does that mean farms provide 1.5 housing, or just 1 housing? I'm going to assume it's 1.5, because otherwise this ability would be dog shit without it. Settling near a river gives you about 6 housing total. So you would need about 4 farms to make up for that housing. Which means earlier on, especially on the higher difficulties, you'd need a builder first or second item. Probably first, if I'm being completely honest. Because the housing cap would be 2, and you'd immediately just get a growth debuff. It would take maybe 10-15 turns to get to 2 population, even working with 3 food tile. But later on in the game, when you have 7-8 farms per cities, it's much better. It gives you more housing in the long run at the expense of literally no housing early on. Now my question is, if you build an aqueduct, would that give you the housing missing from fresh water? If it does, then this civ is far and away one of the best tall civs in the entire game, which is exactly what Firaxis intended with this. If not, I don't see how you can build farms everywhere. You're going to have to build districts, commercial hubs, industrial zones, observatories. So how many farms are you realistically going to get per city? You're going to need mines and lumber mills for production. You're going to need mines on strategic resources. You're going to need luxuries and plantations and stuff like that. So how many cities would you realistically be able to get? Or how many farms would you be realistically able to get with this ability? Maybe 6 or 7 the entire game? So 6 times 1.5 would be 12, 13. That's not too bad. It's actually pretty good. Although you don't get it early on, and especially on the larger difficulties, you're going to be at a handicap early on. And the first 100 turns are the most important turns in any civilization game. So again, this ability, it's definitely a later game ability at the expense of early housing. But how much of a detriment is that going to be? Like, how many farms will you be able to put in a city, pretty much? If you're able to put 6, 7, no problem. as long as it provides 1.5 housing instead of just one. If it just provides one housing per farm, you'd need 2 builders to make up for the housing requirements lost by settling near a river. And even then, you'd have to buy some tiles, because not every tile within your first ring is going to be able to be farmable land. So I don't know, this is one of the abilities you have to wait and see to make a judgment on. But overall, I'm going to give it 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. The golden amenities are nice, but the +1 housing, that's might be an issue. We'll have to see. Next up is their unique unit, the Holche. Not even going to try to pronounce that. My unique ranged unit, stronger than the archer, +5 combat strength when fighting a wounded opponent. This is a defensive unit. I saw somewhere that the combat strength would be about 28, so it's 2 less than the Petati archer, and it has less movement than the Petati archer from Nubia, so it's probably a defensive unit. +5 combat strength when fighting wounded opponents, and +5 combat strength to units within 6 tiles of the capital. So in an ideal world, when you're defending your cities, you're going to have 38 combat strength on an archer, which is absolutely insane. I'm going to have to give this unique unit an 8 out of 10. Defensively, no one's going to be able to do. They could have crossbowmen and swordsmen, and you'd still be able to mount a really good defense. So 8 out of 10 for the Holche. Next up, the observatory. This is what makes the Mayan civilization. Replaces the campus district, cheaper to build, provides +2 science for each adjacent plantation, +1 science for every 2 adjacent farms. So at the very minimum, you're going to have 1, 2, 3 adjacency for each observatory, at the bare minimum. 6 farms in a ring, put the observatory in the middle. A lot of the time, you're going to have 2 plantations, so that's 4. Then you could have 4 farms, so that's 2. So you could have +6 adjacency. Pretty much, I would say, in every observatory, you should be getting at least +6 adjacency. This 10 out of 10 ability, you build a few of these early on, you could easily get to over 100 science by like turn 50 or 60 or something insane like that. So when you want to rush a science victory, Mayan might be your best option. Overall, I mean, I don't know, this is one of the civs you'd have to play to get a read on. The leader ability, plus 10% to all yields, yeah, that's pretty good, but the minus 15% debuff, are you only supposed to build 7 cities total, 6 cities totals? That's what I'm getting from it. It looks like a tall civilization. Plus 5 combat strength to units within 6 tiles. Like, if you want the combat strength so badly, just play fucking Teddy. 90% of the time, America's going to be better at defending than Mayan Empire. And the Mayab, I just don't know. The farms and the extra gold and amenities, it sounds good. But early on, you're going to be handicapped growth-wise. You're going to build settlers at a slower pace. You're going to build units at a slower pace. You're going to make less gold. You're going to make less of everything. Until you start getting those farms out. So settler spamming on Mayan is probably a really bad strategy. Heck, if you're playing the Mayans, you just want your capital, maybe 6 other cities within 6 tiles of the capital, and then you're good to go. Which I think was the point of this. Then the other problem is, if you're going to put farms everywhere, are there going to be room for like commercial hubs and industrial zones? Maybe you want to get a religion up. How's that going to happen? Anyway, the Holche is a really good defensive unit. That's really good. Potential plus 10 combat strength while defending your empire against wounded unit. Ideal. Then the observatory, really good. You're easily going to be able to get plus 6 adjacency. And over time, science is going to add up. And you will be able to overtake the enemy and then either win with science or late game domination while they're still fielding horsemen. So overall, I'd have to give this civilization 6 out of 10. It's in the B tier, maybe in the A tier of civilizations. Just that settling adjacent to freshwater debuff and the minus 15% to all yields. Really, do the bonuses add up to overcome the debuffs? Which I think they do, but not immediately. You're going to need 2 early builders, and then don't settle outside of your capitals. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video.